You know what it also tastes like?
What?
A burrito.
I'm gonna feed my family for an entire week using only this book. Stick around to see what we think.
I would eat this again, 100%. This is an S for me.
It's not good.
Tastes like sweet potato.
It's kind of bitter.
More free.
It's just so bad.
Ooh. I don't know.
You put liquid smoke in it.
I'm the human dumpster in this house when it comes to leftovers that no one else wants. That's really, really tasty. I like that a lot.
Wow, it's really pretty.
And it's still a little soggy.
Feel grumpy about this.
That's Willie's grumpy face. Greetings and welcome to or welcome back to PB with Jay. Here on the channel, we focus on all things plant-based goodness. And today we're diving into the 30-day Alzheimer's solution. This is a book that was recommended by a lot of you, and I can see why. It is packed full of information. Honestly, half the book is just information about Alzheimer's and diet and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, if you are someone who is dealing with that in your life or is concerned about that, this book is probably worth picking up just for that alone. I mean, look at it. And then the other half is recipes. Part of what is in this intro of this book that I thought was really interesting was it really breaks down kind of the core concepts for what you should be doing for your mind and body and health, including a bunch of rules. The rules that it has in this book are that you should eat a plant-based diet. That's easy. That's all we do here on the channel. Avoid all foods that are high in saturated fats. Reduce salt and season your food with herbs and spices. Avoid refined carbohydrates and sugars. Avoid processed foods. Drink water, and eat homemade meals. Honestly, it basically is saying eat whole food plant-based. Although it does use a little bit of oil in the book, I think, but they tend to give you swaps. So there's that. Stick around to the end of this video where we tell you whether or not we think you should buy, borrow, or bypass this book altogether. And if you are considering getting it, please use our link in the description down below because doing so helps us out here on the channel. If you're new to our review series and you're curious about our tier system, this is basically how it goes. S means this dish is fantastic. I can't wait to have it again. A means this is a really good dish. I would love to put it into our rotation at some point again in the future. B means it's fine. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I would happily eat it again if someone else wanted it. C means I don't really love it, but it's not so bad that I won't finish it. F is just a straight up fail. I'm done with it. I'm going to the kitchen to see what else I can scrounge up for a meal. Before we dive into the recipes from this book, I'd love to give a shout out to some of the people who've said hello to us in the comments down below. Kathy from DePere, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Linnea from Tacoma, Washington. Laura from Astoria, Oregon. Amber from Ireland. Russell and Janice from Bolivia. Paula from Connecticut. Sam from Seattle. Sharon from Wales. Felicity from Manitoba. Crystal from Philadelphia. Renee from West Virginia. And Maya from Sweden. If you'd like a shout out here on the channel, all you have to do is say hello to us in the description down below. Let us know who you are, where you're from, and all that jazz. If you want to bump on that list, which is a little bit long, you can do so by joining us over on the Mighty Network for that perk, along with many, many others, including a community of like-minded individuals, early access to these videos, and we're even starting to throw out some recipes that we are testing for our upcoming cookbook that I'm not going to say when it's going to be out. We're working on it. It's going to come out as soon as humanly possible, but it's going to take a beat because we need it to be great. Let's be honest, we're a channel that does reviews of cookbooks, and if we put out a crappy one, that's not good. Speaking of recipes, let's get to it. Tonight for dinner, we're having superfood pasta with hummus walnut dressing. What are you doing, Willie?
You're cutting kale.
Why are you laughing?
Because your voice was like 2 octaves higher than usual.
No, this is how I talk now.
Great.
Do you like it?
No.
So Willie's chopping up some kale and then we're gonna massage it with lemon so it softens.
Does that look like 4 cups?
Little hot tip, the other thing I've massaged kale with that's really nice is avocado. Just give it something to make it less tough, which is the common complaint about kale, is that it's a rough vegetable. This is full of what the book is calling the Neuro 9 items, which I haven't read up yet what that is. Anyway, this is simple. So you basically boil some water and you're gonna cook your pasta, and then once it's like just a few minutes from being finished, you're gonna throw in the broccoli and the edamame.
Did you mention that we're doubling because
Yeah, so if
we
you
eat
see,
a lot of food in this family.
Yeah, so
teenagers.
if it looks like we're having a lot, it's because we're doubling the recipe. But I'll put the proper ingredients on the screen like normal. Otherwise, you're gonna make a dressing out of, you have to already have made a hummus or have a store-bought hummus. She does have a hummus recipe in here, but Wooly just made our hummus. Which, if you want,
it's the best hummus and there's no oil in it.
no oil, and if you want the recipe, it's on our website. Link in the description down below. So basically we're gonna add all the other ingredients into the blender. The hummus, walnuts, lemon zest, lemon juice, a little bit of the cooking water from the pasta. When you drain the pasta, save a cup of the water because you need that for the dressing. So for the dressing, it says to use as much of the pasta water as you need to get the consistency you want. Our hummus is pretty thick, so I just needed to use about half the amount it asked for. If you have a thinner hummus, maybe you need less. And also, whatever consistency you like is kind of what you should aim for here. Make it your own. I do think that the quality of how good your dressing is going to be based on the quality of your hummus, which means ours is fantastic.
I was hoping to that.
Yeah.
That would means for diverse.
Diverse? I don't want to get diverse. And then you're gonna top it with peeled carrots, cherry tomatoes, fresh blueberries, cucumber. The only thing we don't have that it calls for is pea shoots or watercress. We couldn't find that. And then some fresh basil leaves, which we are getting from our Click and Grow home garden, which I also have a link in the description down below for you. Those tomatoes are sadly not ready to put into this recipe, but maybe another one soon. Apparently I was only supposed to blend half the walnuts and the rest go on top. Whoopsie! So yeah, ours won't be as pretty as the picture there, but it rarely ever is. I think we're gonna like this one, and Willie, it's right up our alley. Annie's not home for dinner tonight, but she said she's gonna try some of the leftovers tomorrow at lunch.
It's really good. It's like a perfect summer salad meal. I would eat this again, 100%. This is an S for me, except without the tomatoes. I didn't eat a tomato right now though. Two mama's boys.
Is that blueberry in the salad?
There is a blueberry in there.
Guys, I ate a tomato.
And are you still alive?
Yeah. I'm trying to be more tomato friendly.
I don't know.
Oh no. I want to have this every day.
It's kind of bitter, but I'll give it a B.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Rufus, how's it eat from his leg? Do you give it an S?
S for salty.
I mean, this is one of those kind of summer salads that we could make with other salads and just kind of have it, right? We like summer salads. We like making a whole bunch and just keep them in the fridge and just like gnawing on them for a week.
Going on a picnic?
Oh, that basil pops. That walnut dressing is really nice with our hummus. Like, it's not bitter, huh? I can see what you mean by bitter, but it's just, I don't know, I think the cherries, tomatoes, and the blueberries like bring a little bit of sweetness to it. This is an S. I love it. I would have this every day with Willie. So Willie says that if you have a very lemony hummus, maybe reduce the lemon a little bit. I will happily eat this as long as there are leftovers for it. Let's see what Annie thinks.
Okay, so I'm trying the salad right now.
You should stop it in.
It's really good. There's definitely better pasta salads.
What?
It's like a B.
You are mowing it down for a B.
She's
You are
like
an F?
B or an A. She's like really complaining today. She's in bad mood, guys.
I'm not at
But
all.
we're going to see goats. So yeah.
What are we making, Willie?
We are making crustless mini quiches.
Willie's checking out the instructions, which are simple enough. So she's,
A lot of things to chop.
it's a lot of things to chop. So it says the prep is 10 minutes in this book. We've talked about recipe timing on this channel before. It's generally poorly timed out. This is simple enough though. So once you've chopped everything, you basically slightly heat up all the vegetables, just kind of start them cooking a little bit to help melt the oven while you're preheating the oven at 375. And then while those are heating up, you're gonna make your mixture in the blender by combining your plant milk, tahini, tofu, nutritional yeast, arrowroot, and turmeric, just until it's like smooth. Then you're gonna stir that in with the vegetables so everything is nicely combined. And then you're going to pour it into your muffin cups. Just for reference, we're doubling this recipe because we're not sure how many we need per serving. If it's like a 1 mini quiche per person or 2, because the original recipe makes 6. And worst case, we'll have leftovers.
Worst case, nobody likes it and we have lots of leftovers, and then what?
We know what happens in those worst cases. I eat it.
It's very brave.
Because I'm the human dumpster in this house when it comes to leftovers that no one else wants. Because I don't believe in food waste. I forgot to add the salt and pepper into the blended mix, so I just sprinkled some on top, and then people can add their own after, as they prefer. And then Willie chopped up some potatoes, and we're cooking them in the air fryer for on the side. What's wrong, Willie?
Oh, it's still really wet inside. Look. They either need to sit or cook longer.
Well, they say to let them rest for 5 to 10 minutes.
Well, let's just let them rest in the hot oven.
There you go.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
So, how much longer do we cook this for?
I don't know, an hour.
And it's still a little soggy.
Feel grumpy about this.
That's Willie's grumpy face.
Oh! Look at that one.
Oh, that one's better. They don't look pretty. Hopefully they taste good. So the cooking instructions need a little bit of work. Do you think it's because we used the silicone pan? But we put it inside the metal one.
It's freaking hot.
Something about the ratio of the something's off in the recipe or the cooking time or both. How is it?
Well, I'm glad that it will help prevent Alzheimer's. But I would never make this again. It's like a wet texture. It's fine, but I think it would be better to make a tofu scramble with all these ingredients. It'll be like really veggie packed and use a firmer tofu. And then they'll be delicious. Because look, it basically turned into a scramble anyway.
Let's see.
See.
Tastes like plastic. What is this?
Plastic.
Is it kale?
Asparagus. It could be kale. It could be asparagus.
I don't like asparagus.
Why is it so wet?
Because the cooking time instructions are off. Annie, what do you think?
I didn't get it. It's a C.
Potatoes are good. Oh. They're just so bad.
Are you gonna keep eating it?
No.
An F.
You don't like it either?
It's bad.
Just use.
It's not
Just
bad.
put some ketchup on
It
it.
needs seasoning and ketchup. It's like the texture's bad, the flavor's okay.
Nothing can save it.
Yeah, if you salt and pepper the heck out of it, it's fine. But this took way too long to make for what this is. I agree with Willie. Make it as a tofu scramble. Never ever would I make this again. I think I actually forgot to rate the dish. It made me feel not great. I stopped eating it a few minutes later. So it's an F for me, sadly. I was not expecting that when we started that dish. It's full of so many things I like. Tonight for dinner, we're gonna make Totally Possible burgers. I think this is meant to be like a rip on the Impossible Burger, but this is made with whole food plant-based ingredients, so not a lot of processed things like our plant-based burger alternatives are the kind I'm talking about. This does call for a little bit of olive oil, but we're going to avoid it because it's just asking you to cook mushrooms. Mushrooms will create their own liquid. Honestly, you don't need to add anything to your pan. Just throw them in. If you want to put a little splash of water or broth, go for it, but they honestly don't need it. So we're gonna stir those for like 10 minutes just until they lose their moisture, and then we're gonna set those aside. And then we're gonna take our walnuts and put them into a food processor until they create a bit of a little walnut meal. After that, we're gonna add the oats and tapioca flour and pulse just a few more times until they get a little bit pulverized. We don't need to create like an oat flour here. We just want to break the oats down a little bit. It's okay if there's still a few chunky pieces in there. Two more things to point out in this cookbook. It never tells you when to add the mushrooms into the mixture. So I started it and now I'm gonna add the mushrooms in because I assumed I should have put them in with the walnuts, but it doesn't say. Very frustrating. I feel like this book wasn't proofed very well with recipe testers. Also, just a hot tip. It calls for tapioca flour. If you're like, I can't find tapioca flour, I can only find tapioca starch. It's the same thing. Don't know why there's two different names for it. Yeah, this book, I don't love the directions in this book so far, just in the fact that they're missing they're just missing simple things that would make it confusing for people that aren't comfortable in kitchens. I don't like that. Next, we add the black beans, the chickpeas. It's confusing here because it says to add half the lentils. It doesn't say where else in the recipe you use the other half. Otherwise, we're adding in the nutritional yeast, the liquid smoke, the liquid aminos. I think I have any, so I'm just gonna use tamari. Black pepper and chili flakes. If you're using, you might not want as much heat that this recipe calls for, but maybe you do. Then we're gonna take the grated beet that the recipe calls for, and we're gonna add that in and pulse it just a little bit more until it all comes together. This is where I would think you'd add the other half of the lentils. Otherwise, I don't know why they tell you to have a cup and a half of lentils, but only put half of them in. But when you look at the photo, it doesn't look like it's got extra pieces around. So I don't know. I don't know whether or not to omit the lentils or to put them all at once. It's very confusing. That's a bad thing. We're going to now shape those patties into 4 or 6 burgers. We're gonna place them into 6 because we got 6 people eating dinner here tonight. These patties look great. Like that beet gives it that perfect kind of ground beef color. Very sticky and moist, these patties. I didn't put in the extra half of lentils because it didn't tell me where to put them and when to put them in. Left them out. So that's a fault of the recipe if I was supposed to put them in somewhere. They're resting in the fridge. Hopefully that'll help them firm up for a bit. They're gonna be able to sit there for a couple hours. The recipe only calls for 15 to 20 minutes. And to cook them, you preheat the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And you heat up a non-stick frying pan. And then you fry the burgers on top of the pan for like 10 minutes on each side. And then you put the burgers into a baking sheet and bake them for 15 minutes until browned and firm. To make the chipotle cashew queso, I have pre-soaked some cashews with some hot water. It doesn't say you have to do that. I just know that it just helps them blend up a little smoother. I'm actually reducing this recipe by about 1/3 because it only says we need like a tablespoon, which doesn't seem like enough for all the burgers to put on top. So I'm just making like 2/3 of this recipe for our burgers tonight. And assuming we'll have leftovers, I can put it on a bowl or something. It'll come in handy. You can use that kind of sauce for so many things. It suggests a cup of water, up to a cup of water. So you basically just keep on going until it's the consistency you want. I assume it's supposed to be like a spread, like that. It's got a really nice flavor. Yeah, that'd be really nice on a burger. Okay, put this in the fridge and let it, it's gonna get thicker too, so I might wanna blend it again, add more water later. And then you top it however you top your burger. What do you think of burger, Annie?
It's bad.
What's bad about it?
You put liquid smoke in it, and you know I don't like liquid smoke.
But the recipe called for it.
Oh yeah, like liquid smoke is gonna prevent Alzheimer's.
Is it super mushy? Is it gonna fall apart in my
Can
mouth?
you bring the ketchup to the table, please, for the fries?
It's definitely a soft burger.
Yeah.
But it tastes good. I mean, a lot of homemade veggie burgers are soft like that.
It's hard to make them not that way without making
Yeah.
them really dry.
Well, we can make it thinner, maybe.
These are big patties. Like you could get
Yeah.
probably 3 or 4 more burgers out of these. That's got a really nice flavor.
I like that.
I give it, that's like an A.
I'd say an A. Kind of with Annie, I'm not big on smoke
Yeah.
flavor, but
But it's not too smoky, right?
they're not terrible.
It's okay.
Yeah?
Like when I eat the Beyond Burgers or Impossible Burgers, it's not like really smoky, you know?
Oh, okay. So you don't like the smoke either?
I don't really add anything.
Okay.
Like
What? But do you like it? Like, do you like it at all?
I saw a B+.
So one of the things I really love about this cookbook so far is just how it focuses on nice, clean ingredients that are good for your body. And if you're going plant-based for things that are more than just your body, including, say, the environment, like we have in our family, you might be interested in this company that we are working with now called Eti. Eti is an amazing company that is eco-friendly. It's all about sustainability, and it's the kind of place we've been looking for a long time. To get these or many, many more products, use our link in the description down below to get 10% off. And now more recipes. Tonight we're gonna make the Pinto bean quesadilla with chipotle cashew queso. I had to read that because that's a lot. The first change is we're not using pintos because I already had black beans and chickpeas cooked up for one of the other dishes in this, so I'm not going to waste it. And we already made the chipotle cashew queso like you saw in a previous recipe, so we're kind of good to go on that front. This is really, really simple. We're going to put some vegetables in the frying pan, the bell pepper and the corn. We're just gonna saute those just basically until the corn has thawed a little bit. And then we're gonna take the beans and we're gonna mash them a little bit. Willie already pre-mashed. Thanks, Willie.
Welcome.
Then we're gonna add our seasonings to that and stir it around. And then we're gonna add on about half of a cup of that chipotle cashew queso and mix it all around. Then we're gonna add in the spinach and the red cabbage, and then we're just gonna make sure it's all combined, and then we're gonna turn off the heat. I tasted this and I thought it was a little bland, and I realized I forgot to put in the black pepper and the cumin. I'm gonna do that now on the counter when it's already mixed. Anyway, I'm gonna make it better. And I think this book avoids salt, but I would definitely say if you like a little salt, we don't like too much. This would not be sad if you added that to it. Next, we're gonna get our tortillas going. We're gonna warm them up a little bit in the pan, flip them over, add 3 to 4 spoonfuls of the filling over each half a tortilla. Don't put it all the way down the middle, because then we're gonna drizzle a little bit more queso on and fold it over, and then just cook it until it's, you know, got a little bit of brown, crispy, whatever texture you like on both sides. And then you keep on going until you run out of tortillas and filling. And you could put extra stuff on it if you wanted. Do we have extra stuff? Do we have any avocado? No, so we won't be doing that, but if you had some, you could. You can make a little guac to go with this. We didn't, but you could. And anything else that you'd like on this. You know, it's in the Mexican oeuvre, so you could add like, I don't know, olives, which is what we do. That's our version of Mexican. Jalapeno would be good. You know, you can make it your own.
Hi guys, today we're gonna be trying a quesadilla. There appears to be some beans. It smells like a taco.
A taco?
Uh-huh. There's some corn. You know what it also tastes like?
What?
A burrito.
But what would you rate it?
Yeah, an A.
All right.
I give it a bean out of 10.
A bean out of 10? Yeah, it's a really good base. I like this method of putting the mixture all into a pan with all the vegetables and everything. I don't know why I haven't done that with a quesadilla. I'm saying it like Annie now. Thanks a lot.
It's gonna be a bit shaky because I'm itching my arm.
I like it a lot. I would add and build to this. So I would add like I want a little bit of extra salt in here, but not like salt. So I want to add some olives to this. With the salsa, let's see. With the salsa, it elevates it. I'm gonna give this a solid A+. So how are you having yours? Yours isn't a quesadilla?
Yeah, it's just in a bowl. It's good. Probably tastes better as a quesadilla. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
I thought it was a good base, but I wanted to add more stuff to it.
I'm gonna B+.
All right. For breakfast this morning, we're at the farm, and I'm gonna make these sweet potato oat pancakes. I'm gonna do a double batch. It calls for 1 medium sweet potato, but I have this giant large one. I think that'll be enough for 2 mediums. It doesn't give like a gram or a weight, which kind of drives me a little bit nuts, because that's such a subjective thing, a medium sweet potato. Anyway, we're gonna mix together our flax seeds and then set them aside so they can thicken. But first, before I do that, I'm going to use the blender to make my oat flour by just blending up some rolled oats. I just realized there's probably no reason I can't just put all the dry ingredients in here and blend them up. It feels like a nice one less bowl kind of hack. Now we're gonna pour that into a separate bowl, and then I'm gonna blend up all of our wet ingredients in the blender and then combine them. The recipe calls for a boiled sweet potato, but I thought, you know, baking it would give it a little extra flavor, kind of caramelize it and candy it a bit and just make it sweeter. More flavor. That's that, and then you cook them like you cook pancakes. Look what Willie came back with.
I didn't even get out the lane.
What?
There's so many along the side. Good
job, Willie.
Thanks.
Wow. We're gonna top them with some fresh fruit, including these wild raspberries we have on our property at the farm. How are they, Woody?
Okay. A little squishy,
A little squishy?
but not in a bad way. They have a nice flavor. Goes well with maple syrup and berries. I'm gonna give it an A.
I like them a lot. These are like an S for me. It's just like so flavorful. They don't have like a gluten-free vibe to them. You know, even though they're naturally gluten-free, we even modify the recipe. Delicious. I wonder if the kids will like these.
We'll find out.
I think they will.
Tastes like sweet potato. I think that it's a B.
A B?
I'll eat this one, but then I'm probably gonna steal one and I'll grab a piece of bread.
Too earthy?
Too sweet potato-y.
Fair enough. I loved it.
Well, you're you, so.
Oh. Whoa. Ah! You're having it just on its own, right? Nothing? No?
You have it. Ow.
Don't it have a great flavor?
No.
Like at all?
No.
An F for you?
Yeah, it tastes kind of burnt.
It's from a baked sweet potato.
I don't know.
All right, more for me. For the next recipe in this book, we're gonna make these Omega muffins. You know, muffins, right? What's interesting about this is it only makes 8. I don't think I've ever seen a muffin recipe that didn't make 6 or 12. All right, so for these muffins, I'm gonna preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit to get that going. Traditionally, like most muffins, you're gonna make a dry mixture and a wet mixture. Now, here's the thing with some of these ingredients, note that there's a little bit of extra that we're gonna use for topping. A little bit of the oats, hemp seeds, and walnuts. So not all of the amount that's on the screen goes in at the first initial phase, so keep an eye on that. So we're gonna make our own oat flour in the blender, just mixing up some oats. And then we're gonna add some additional rolled oats in there, along with the baking powder, 2 tablespoons of the hemp seeds, the ground flax seeds, baking soda, cinnamon, and just a little bit of salt. And then we're gonna lightly stir in some of those walnuts as well as a grated apple. I'm just using a sad apple that needs some love and wanted to be turned into muffins. For the wet ingredients, we're gonna whisk together a banana, some apple cider vinegar. They call for extra virgin olive oil, but they say that you can substitute with nut butter of your choice. So I'll see what we got. Peanut butter, we got lots of that. Along with some plant milk, and then we're gonna mix that all together with the dry ingredients once that's combined. They said if the batter's too thick, add a little more plant milk.
Okay.
We're gonna divide that into the muffin cups. So these actually made enough for at least 10. I probably could have made a whole dozen out of these. I wasn't sure how much to pack the cups because I don't think these are the ones that are gonna kind of rise. We're gonna sprinkle with a little bit more of that rolled oats, the hemp seeds, and the walnuts, and we're gonna bake for 25 minutes until golden.
Yeah,
Then we're gonna let them cool and see how they are.
yeah,
What's going on?
I can't reach.
Don't really have much flavor.
No?
But it's not bad. I think this might work. Tastes like oatmeal.
The oats in it.
Oh, really? I see. Because it doesn't have that much flavor.
You gonna take a bite?
Tastes like nothing.
So,
F.
It's bland.
This tastes like flour.
when you wanna try flour?
That's why it's not sounding so hot. That's a muffin that you need to put some jam on.
Yeah, like a crumpet. I think they expected the banana and the apple to give it like flavor.
Oh.
It's not good. That's an F. I'll probably eat them because there's so many of them. But I might not. That's not good.
Fit check.
Oh, fit check for Annie.
Old Navy, black jean shorts, Blue Notes top. Thingy. A hat.
Free hat from the game.
And my brother's jersey.
Free jersey from the game.
How is it when you put nut butter on it?
It's better, but can use some jam. I think a little chia jam would be nice.
Do we have jam in the fridge?
Just put some
But the nut berry's
berries
good.
on it.
I actually like the texture. It's like dense, but it's moist enough.
It probably just needs a little sweetness.
It just needs something, a little more flavor, even a bunch of cinnamon in it or something.
I put cinnamon in, but it needs more, probably. Or like more apple, maybe?
More anything. I like it with nut butter. I don't mind that it's bland.
It's not awful.
No.
On its own, it needs something with it. It needs an assistant. So for our final recipe in the book, I'm gonna make the cover recipe, the berry and ice cream cake. This is essentially like a vegan cheesecake kind of thing because it incorporates, fruits and fats, and it gives it that cheesecake type flavor. This is actually a really simple recipe. It just takes time to make because you've got to blend one layer, let it freeze, and then blend another layer and then put it on top. So it's the kind of thing you might want to start making in the morning or the night before, however you want to work it. But making it itself is very, very simple. So for the bottom layer, you need to soak 2 cups of cashews. It says to soak it overnight. Honestly, all I do is I boil some water and I put it on and I leave it for at least 15 minutes, 30 minutes max. It softens it up just fine. We're gonna combine that with 2 very ripe bananas that have been cut into small slices and frozen, along with a cup of dates, half teaspoon of vanilla extract. If you have seeds from a vanilla pod, about 1/4 will do, and 1/4 cup of unsweetened non-dairy milk. A little preview of the bottom layer. Oh, that's really nice. Yeah. It's got a nice fattiness to it from the cashew and the banana and the dates. Give it such a nice, it's a sweet feeling, but it's not overly sweet. Mmm. After that freezes, we are going to make our second layer, which is 2 cups of frozen blueberries. I actually only have mixed berries, which is fine. You can honestly make any kind of layer here you want in terms of the fruit. If you have pure blueberries, great, but I got mixed berries, so it'll give a similar vibe. You're gonna mix that with a cup of non-dairy milk, a half cup of dates, and 1 cup of raw walnuts. Blend that together, pour it on top, and let it freeze for another at least 2 hours, ideally more. Once it's all set, you're gonna pop it out of that mold, and then you can just serve it as is. If you wanna drizzle it with, I don't know, like a little chocolate sauce or something you make up, some fresh berries, some nuts, whatever you want on top to make it pretty, go for it, but you can just eat it as is.
Pretty good. Tastes like raspberry
Yeah?
and cashew. Raspberry cashew cake. I'll give it an A.
Okay.
Look at that B. I don't like the bottom layer.
The banana layer?
The cashew layer, you mean?
Banana cashew, yeah. My turn! Mmm. Ooh. It takes a second for the flavors to kind of hit. It's a really nice blending. The berries take a second, but then they really pop. That's really, really tasty. I like that a lot. Like for a whole food plant-based dessert, using dates, no sugar, that's an S. There's a lot of nuts in here though. So, have a small portion if you're trying to lose weight. But, we believe in healthy fats around here.
Wow, it's really pretty. Mmm. Oh, I really like it. The bottom layer is kind of creamy, and the top layer is more like a sorbet. Like really nice. I give this an S.
So what were our final thoughts on this book? I'm gonna be honest, a lot of the stuff in here we really genuinely loved. I think it's packed with great information for people that are interested in the topic at hand. I will say that a lot of the recipes hit hard and some of them missed hard. So it was a bit of a mixed bag when it came to that. That said, I do think it errs on the side of the good when it comes to the recipes at large. My biggest issue with this book was just the way some of the recipes were written. As you saw me go through the recipes, I struggled because of I think it needed an editor, either from just like a recipe tester or just someone to look at the text and make sure it wasn't confusing. If you're gonna make a big, beautiful book that's hardcover, details, little things like that make a big difference for, I think, me and people like you. All that to say, I think this book is an absolute borrow at the very minimum. There's lots of great stuff in here. For those that are interested in the topic at hand and want to eat super, super clean, this book is very likely a buy. And if you are going to do that, please use our link in the description down below because it helps us out here on the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please let YouTube know by hitting that like button so they can know to send it to other people. And hit subscribe if you want more videos like this in the future. And if you have a few more minutes, YouTube thinks this is the video that you should stick around and watch next. It'll make you happy. Actually, I can't promise that. But I mean, it's worth a shot, right?